The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Welcome to Chit-Chatting with Jocelyn. Thank you for joining me. And this is part 2 of my show with Elliot Axelman. I had to look to make sure I got it correctly. I am so glad that you were able to stay and we could do part 2 because this is absolutely, I'm not going to say fascinating, but it's extremely interesting, but it's also very scary and is rocking my world right now of what's true and what's not true. Really?
That's good. I'm glad I can make people think and challenge their ideologies, because I have grown so much in the past few years because I've been challenged, and it was uncomfortable when my brothers, my co-hosts on the Liberty Block podcast, fighting with me, and they have convinced me of a few things. I've convinced them of a few things, and that's what I think growth and evolving is all about. So I've totally grown from conservative to libertarian to eventually voluntarist a few years ago. So I've had
voluntarist.
Voluntarist. It means we believe everything should be voluntary and consensual, and we don't believe.
Never heard that term before.
It's the slightly more polite way of saying anarcho-capitalist, because anarchism scares people. It essentially means I don't believe in government having the power to coerce people, even if they have a majority, even if they say it's for the children, even if they have good excuses. Mm-hmm. Right now, they take half of our money, as I explained in Taxation is Theft. They steal around half of our money. And they say it's okay because there was a vote, even though only 3% of people actually vote.
Because they voted.
Yeah. Well, they voted, but they were elected. They say we're duly elected, so we can do whatever we want, like right. Kings. But they're not kings. They weren't elected by a very big majority. Even if they were elected by 100% of people besides one, they have no real power to compel that one person who didn't vote for them to do anything. If I have a room of 10 people or 100 people and we vote to take all your money, we still can't do it. It's not right. It's still theft. It's like putting lipstick on a pig. It's still theft. I can get a big group and say, we're stealing from a bad person. Jocelyn's evil anyway. Let's steal her money. She's too rich anyway. Tax the rich, like my friend Alexandria says. And we're going to use it for good things. We'll use it to build schools for orphans and feed them. So we're using it for good things. We're only stealing a little bit. They're too rich anyway. We voted on it. All these are putting lipstick on a pig. It's various types of lipstick and makeup. Theft is wrong, right? We all learned when we were 5 years old, don't hurt people and don't take their stuff.
Correct.
It's very, very true. And in almost every scenario, around 99%, there are some gray areas, but in around 99%, that can help solve the question. If you have a question, should I take this person's money?
No.
Yeah. It's usually no, it's theft, right?
What's funny is, funny as in not laughing funny, but funny as in strange. The most powerful word in our vocabulary that is not used often enough or not said and stuck to is the word no. Mm-hmm. My grandfather used to say to me, and my father used to say to me, you say no, you mean no, that's it. It's not maybe, it's not sometimes, it's no. And we've lost that. And I think this is one of Elliot's 8 books, mind-blowing. This is going to be published soon. And he's got another one, Presumed Guilty, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit, is going to be, he's finishing them up, adding, tweaking, how authors are. And then they're going to be published. The one that's published right now is The Blueprint for Liberty, so you can order that. How can they order that?
That's on Amazon.
It's on Amazon.
And if you're in New Hampshire, just find me and I'll sign it.
Find it. Yes, he will. Right there. So taxation is theft. Now, that does not faze me in the least.
That's good, because until I was totally woken up to voluntarism, even until around 3 years ago, it made me upset when I heard that. I thought taxation was good and it was fair and it was our civic duty. So I'm glad that even if you're not a voluntarist, you're not too offended, because I was offended by that.
I'm not, because my thing, as my audience knows, as a lot of people know, you pay your property taxes, you assume you're getting services for it, but they take your property taxes, and the school board and the school association automatically, without question, no ifs, ands, or buts, are handed, in most cases, 85% of those property taxes. So 15% is left for your town. So I'm thinking this is how it's done. I'm not saying fair, but I'm thinking this is how it's done. And my kids go through the school and I see the taxes going higher and higher and higher. And I start listening going, well, what are they spending it on? And wait a minute, you didn't ask me. Yeah, but you elected me. I didn't vote on it. Yeah, but you elected me, so I speak for you.
But others in the town voted for them, so.
Yeah, so that makes it okay, but I didn't. And in the end, so this many people elected you, and so you all decided that you would spend our money in such and such a way, which are all questionable, unconstitutional, sometimes not lawful. But because you're the group and we elected you, you've made that decision, but you don't come back and get our permission or let us vote on whether that was okay. Oh no, that's the budget. You just bury it in a budget. You just bury as much garbage, trying really hard, because that's what frosts me. Mm-hmm. You bury it and then you stuff it down our throats and you say, you elected us and you're going to do that. That sends me through the roof. So you take the 85% of my property taxes that I work my butt off. I work 60 to 90 hours a week. I know you know about that. 60 to 90 hours a week. God only knows when I slept, but I did. How many, times we're out there helping people, so it's okay, I'll give my taxes because it's helping people and I help people, and we get into this rut and it's not bad, but it starts to become guilt and psych, and they use it against you. So they take my 85%, our 85% of our property taxes, and they shove it over to the school. And the school takes it and they make it into this beautiful apple pie. It's now 100%. And then they take that 100% and they go, 90% of that is for staff and pensions and benefits and, continuing education and the unions and blah, 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 all this stuff that you and I did not vote on.
Mm-hmm. And even if my kids, for instance, my wife and I will homeschool, so we're never going to use government schools, I don't believe the line. I know you said it earlier, maybe you're too nice, maybe you really believe it. We don't believe the line of government schools are good even if you have no kids. If you're gay or have no kids or sterile or whatever, or homeschool or private school. It's good because it's a educated community. I don't believe that. Again, I have all the stats in this book or one of the books, the education chapter of that book, how government schools do a worse job than private school or homeschool or charter schools, obviously. So I don't think that my taxes are contributing to a better, more prosperous society or educated or anything like that. So if I don't have kids, what if I'm sterile? What if we are sterile? We're trying to have kids. What if we can't? I'm still adding insult to injury of not being able to have kids by forcing me to pay $5,000, $10,000 a year to give to government regulators to indoctrinate kids with CRT and sexualization and coronafascism, to indoctrinate other kids, not my kids because I have none, to brainwash every other kid to believe that whites are evil, capitalism is evil, America's the worst place ever, blah, 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 and guns are
sex
evil.
With anybody and anything is...
Yep. So it's multifold. And that's only property taxes, and property taxes are especially bad. Each type of tax is a special kind of evil.
Right.
Property tax is evil because, as one of the biggest taxation and stuff people advocates, Dan Berman, said on my show a few years ago, a great point. Property tax essentially means that you can never own a house.
Correct.
Because even when you pay it off, I'm going to pay off my house in a few years. When you pay it off, you still have to pay a few $1,000s a year to live in it. That's called rent. There's a famous meme. That sounds like rent. Yeah, I have to pay to live in it, otherwise I get thrown out. That's called rent.
But it's only rent on the land, Elu.
Yeah. Whatever it is, it's to the government, and government people with guns will come and they will take you away from your property or kill you if you don't give them money. So it's rent. So at best, you can rent your house from the government. Like I say, in this book and a few other books, the government owns your property. They own your property, they own your kids, because if your kids don't go to school, if they don't go to school Monday morning, you're at fault. If they don't come back, that's the government, that's fine. They own your kids Monday through Friday, but they let you have visitation with your kids on evenings and weekends, as long as you behave, right? So Flip it, right? The government has custody of your kids, and they're a truant if they don't come to school, but they let you see your kids on weekends and nights, maybe.
How nice.
Although the school day's increasing, it's starting earlier and ending later. They want to increase it. There's another bill a few months ago to increase it to 5 or 6 or 7 at night because parents work late, so they have to pay for childcare, so let's increase it. So they want to have our kids 24/7, but maybe let the good ones, of course the vaccinated parents, let the good sheep see their kids on Sundays, maybe. So they own the kids, they own your house, they own everything, but income tax is especially evil. It's literally a fine, a punishment on productivity. Sales tax is a punishment on commerce. It's especially bad. Tariffs are a punishment on free trade. Every kind of tax. The inheritance tax, I think Biden either did or wants to increase it. Yeah, they want to step up the basis for it so that you'll be taxed on way more. And even essentially not capital gains tax. They want you to tax on unrealized gains with inheritance and with stocks capital gains. So you can't even afford to die. The famous joke, you can't even afford to die because they look at the value of your entire inheritance. So if you have a big farm or a big business valued at 10 million and 40% effective, top marginal rate, so a 35% rate effective, you have to pay $350,000 to the government. Of course, nobody has that in cash, so you have to liquidate your farm. Sell your farm and give it to the government. So they've made it essentially impossible, and again, it's an attack on farmers. They've made it impossible to pass down a farm or some kind of big business or even a big inheritance. So you work hard your whole life, pay all your taxes, income tax, sales tax. I list like 100 taxes in those books, in the book. You pay all your taxes, and then when you die, your whole life, what do you want to do at the end of your life? You want to pass on a good inheritance to your kids. That's literally like the goal in life, right? And no, they got to take 40% of that as well. And they tax, again, every single step of the way. Every time money exchanges hands, they want to tax it. But now with the new plan of AOC and the communists, they want to tax literally unrealized gains. So I don't even know what that means, because if my stock goes up one day, if you don't sell, if you buy a stock and it goes up tomorrow, you owe taxes even if you don't sell it. What if you don't sell it till the next week when it goes back down? So you owe taxes on unrealized gains, which doesn't even make sense in theory.
Who's going to track this?
Yeah, well, exactly. There's going to be more privacy issues if they track every investment account as well.
Exactly, and
yeah. So I think part one of that book it goes through all the taxes and how they're all disgusting.
Yep. The taxes.
100 different taxes.
The taxes, and I'm definitely going to read this and highlight it. So the taxes all the taxes bother me, but the taxes that people don't realize. So you get your cell phone bill. So there's or the Xfinity bill. There's a sports fee tax. I don't watch sports. I don't do that. Well, you have to. It's by the government. There's a state fee. There's a tax on the tax. There's a tax on the this. There's like 7 lines of taxes. When did businesses not have to have business expenses? When did it become taxes to everybody? And then if this company buys that company, which you see happening, this utility buys that utility and becomes a conglomerate, you now are still paying, we the customers are paying the tax from the business they bought, plus the taxes for the new business. At any one time, there's 5, 6, 7 lines of taxes. And I think I just heard a report yesterday, and I can't remember if it was for the whole United States or just New York City. I'm thinking just New York City, but we're close. 62% of people's pay go to the assorted taxes.
Yeah, when I was in New York City, because they have high taxes, they have a state income tax of around 9%, my city income tax of 4%, so add 13 to the federal taxes. So in my last almost full year working in New York City, 2017, I believe, working as a medic, I grossed around $60,000 a year. I was living at home. I didn't have massive expenses. Made 60 grand. My effective tax burden total of all the taxes was around 45%. At 50%, that's half of your income. Now, again, people don't realize how bad this is. At 100% of taxation, you know what that means? Slavery. Literally, if they take 100% of the money you would earn, you are working for them and you are a slave. So at 50%, you're half slave. When I say the S word, people get offended and weird and it gets awkward.
But we are.
But yeah, at 50%, you're half slave.
I've been saying that forever.
So
People have been really mad at me.
Yeah, at 45, 50%, you're a half slave. So you work half the year for the government.
Or if you don't like the S word, if they take 50% of your pay in taxes, you worked half the year for zero.
For the government overlords. So one part of the book explains just all the taxes, how they take around, like you said, 40, 50, 60% overall effective tax burden. Another big part is that what do they spend it on? And I explain what they spend it on. I have a whole, charts and everything. I think it's mostly entitlements like Medicare, Social Security. A lot of it is for foreign wars as well. That's I think the second highest expenditure. And again, we're paying billions, as you know, to
military
send missiles and drones all over the world to bomb people.
Yep.
It's so important that we bomb everyone.
Foreign countries, and I don't know anywhere that I ever voted for is asked for if we could send my tax dollars because, if we're going to use their mental games and stuff that they play on us, I want my taxes to take care of our military and our homeless. I want to have places for drug addicts to get treatments and rehab.
If you want to put your own communities first, they call you a racist, bigot, nationalist, and that's what's an issue. And this is what Trump said, and I think a few other leaders have said it. Everyone, literally being a statesman, being any representative, or being any good citizen means putting your people first. Doesn't mean I hate everyone else. I love Israelis. I love Australians. I love Filipinas. I married one. I love everyone from all over the world. All my friends are from all over the world. That's irrelevant. take care of you, yourself, your family, and concentric circles, your community first, and United States, yes. If we're in debt by 29 trillion, which we are, if we have millions of homeless veterans, especially, and other homeless people and others impoverished, let's take care of them first before we send billions a year to every country. I think it's in that book where I explain with sources and everything. We are sending a few hundred million or a few billion to like every country. There are 186 countries, like 185 of them get an average of a few $1 billion a year from us.
177 countries. Yeah, 177 countries. It's not right there, but I just looked really quick.
Yeah, so overall, just the waste, and I give a few examples, but obviously there are infinite examples of waste. So a lot of it is waste. A lot of it is actually worse than waste, because waste is not bad. A lot of it is sending money to people who end up being ISIS. They sent money. They gave 20 or $80 billion in weapons to the Taliban. So not only, so you think you're doing your civic duty, like you said before, you're doing your civic duty by paying for taxes because you think it goes to good things like roads and hospitals. It's not good. It's not wasted. It's actually bad. You armed Taliban. You funded ISIS. Yeah. So literally, people
I'm funding Planned Parenthood.
Yep. So there are people who are really more aggressive, voluntarists, libertarians, anarchists. When I say I pay taxes, they say I'm evil. They actually get upset at me and they say you are funding sociopaths, murderers, criminals like Biden, and by proxy the Taliban, Xi Jinping, who owns Biden, obviously. ISIS. We formed ISIS. We either by creating them indirectly by bombing them and their relatives and everything, or by literally giving billions in tanks and how many airplanes and tanks and like 400,000 M16s, hundreds of thousands of M16s we give to Taliban. Imagine if they gave that to us. I would love an M16. But no, they're giving it to them. There's a famous meme. I identify as a terrorist. Now I'm waiting for the government to give me a gun. Yeah. So not only is it's not used for good, most of it, most of the money is used for either bad things or wasteful things, very little for actual good. So that's another big issue. Another big part of the book that we haven't gotten to yet is the ultimate tax is actually inflation. And the most evil, maybe the most evil tax is, even if you're not paying taxes because you're smart and you don't want to fund criminal sociopaths who kill people around the world and people here, and you keep your money hidden in the black market, still, if you have your money held in dollars, with inflation, they're printing away the value of your money. So you're losing 5, 10, 20, 50% of your value, of your purchasing power every year. Even if it's in a bank, invested under your mattress in stocks or bonds or ETFs or anything else, unless it's in gold or silver or cryptos or some other asset that's not necessarily related to the dollar, or maybe like an inverse asset to the dollar. If you're held in cash in US dollars, they are stealing your money by inflation. And that's the most evil thing, especially for those on fixed incomes. If you get $300 a month for Social Security, 10 years ago, that was okay. Now that's not okay. In a year, $300 will be peanuts. You'll be able to afford 5 peanuts a month. But, then they'll have to increase spending, and it's a vicious cycle of the U.S. imploding. And that's why one of the few optimistic things is that the U.S. government and D.C. will eventually implode under the weight of their own, disgusting debt and irresponsible printing and spending and borrowing and other tyranny. So, the last part of the book explains we have all these taxes. We actually don't need them. Number one, we shouldn't have any government ruling over us. People cooperate fine as individuals. Mm-hmm. Almost every individual is naturally peaceful. The most violent are actually the government agents.
Correct.
I know the government was created to protect our liberties and protect our right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness.
That's not
happening. They failed. In fact, they actually are the biggest violators. Who is the biggest violator of life and liberty? The government itself.
Correct.
So we hired them as bodyguards, and they're the ones who kill us. So it's backwards. So the government shouldn't exist. According to the Declaration of Independence, they were created for a purpose. They've done the opposite of that purpose. They've violated us. They shouldn't exist. But if you want a government to exist, it can exist without taxation. And I explain in the final few chapters of that book, there are many ways the government raises money without taxation, without coercion, without theft.
Yeah.
They can raise money. You and I make money. We don't steal it.
No.
We earn it cooperatively by people who consent to give us money. Why do people consent to give us money? Because we do things for them.
Correct.
I treat patients, they give me money. Or I work for my employer, they give me money. It's consensual. There's no violence there. There's no gun involved. Everyone who's gotten rich, Bezos got rich. Now is he evil? He's probably evil now because he's gotten in bed with elite politicians. But he earned his $100 billion not ever by putting a gun to a head. It was all consensual. I buy from Amazon plenty. In fact, Amazon just opened up in Hooksett because I buy so much from them. They opened a new place in Hooksett for me. So it's all voluntary.
Correct.
And that's fine. If you make money voluntarily and then AOC has the audacity to say, tax the rich, you guys are too rich. We earned it fair and square. People, even my own mother, people talk about how NFL players, MLB players make 50 million a year. Patrick Mahomes makes 50 million a year. That's too much. No one needs that much money. How does he make that much money when teachers only make 50 grand a year? Such a horrific argument. Patrick Mahomes earned it fair and square. I have never heard one report of Patrick Mahomes, a quarterback for the Chiefs, putting a gun to someone's head. He's never done it.
Nope.
He's never stolen money. He earned the money. Now, people don't understand capitalism. How did he earn that much? Endorsement deals. He fills stadiums. He gets jersey sales, and he might get a cut from that, and he makes the NFL a more amazing brand. He fills stadiums. The Chiefs holds 50 to 100,000 people in the stadium. Because of him, he's the MVP. He's the prime attraction. They come, they buy jerseys, and also every TV network throughout the United States, you know more about TV than I do, obviously, but I assume every network, if it's something watched a lot, like Chiefs games are watched very much, they get a lot of money from commercials, right? If they have hundreds of millions watching, that means they can get more from commercials, meaning some of that money indirectly in contracts gets to the homes.
Capitalism at its best.
It's capitalism. So he earned it fair and square. Now, I'm not a big advocate of the labor theory of value as far as how hard you work. I could say I work very hard, I don't make enough money. It's about, and I've written about this too, the factors that affect how much money you make. The biggest factor is value production, not necessarily labor. I can work very hard, banging a rock every day. If I work very hard, it doesn't mean I should make that, commensurate amount of money. People think I work hard, I'm an EMT. You hear all the EMTs saying, I deserve more than 15 an hour because McDonald's makes that. Correct. I save lives, which is a really just a tacky term to say. But people think they earn more because I work hard. I work very hard. I could say I deserve $1 million a year. I work hard as a medic. I do the job on emergencies of a doctor, a nurse, a tech, a social worker, and security. I deserve all those salaries combined, which is $1 million a year, right? But that's not a good enough argument.
Not going to happen.
Value production. How much value do I produce for my employer?
Correct.
By billing for those patients? And that is what I make, because that's how capitalism works. Now, that being said, Patrick Mahomes he makes 100,000 times more than you and I make. He does, and I know this for a fact, work 100,000 times harder than you and I. And you and I work hard. He works harder. I played football in high school. He works 24/7, sprinting and lifting weights till he vomits 24/7. And he watches film when he's not vomiting from working out. And he studies film and he studies academics. So he does work. In this case, in pro sports, it does work out that way. The best athletes, Floyd Mayweather is arrogant, boxer, made hundreds of millions. He also happens to work 1 billion times harder than I do. Floyd Mayweather works out 24/7. He does. So he does deserve the money. But again, it's value production. He sells out stadiums. He gets pay-per-view ads, hundreds of millions of dollars per fight. So they earned it, and it's all about capitalism. Yep. So yeah, in the last chapter, I explained how the government, in New Hampshire, they do it, right? We have 82 liquor stores. The government earns money from people who give it to them voluntarily. How about that for your theory? Don't steal money with violence by saying police will come to your house and punish you with guns.
You didn't pay your house taxes.
Yeah.
Right. So we're going to
They can earn it fair and square. So I explain how that works and with some of the numbers as well. And I'm confident, at least in New Hampshire, again, screw DC. I've given up on them. They can go off and sink.
It's a foreign territory anyway, so we need to at least acknowledge that for the other groups. I'm sorry, I've learned about the foreign territories and I knew it. So I actually am an American citizen because I was born in Washington, D.C. I am now a citizen of the state of New Hampshire because I swore the oath and I got all my paperwork done. Because in order to be a citizen, you must either be born here or you must do the paperwork and become a citizen and say, I am a citizen and I've put my stakes down here. I'm not running around as a, I don't know what the word is that they use. But anyway, I won't go there. To me, when I started learning about foreign territories and the corporation and all that stuff, which is just extra stuff that adds to what you're talking, it blew my mind that they have their own police department. None of the rules apply to them. They get all this free money and the staffers get this and that and inside training. And I'm sitting there going, so they're living in a foreign territory in the United States telling us all what to do. Just that alone makes me want to throw up.
Mm-hmm. And again, we didn't even get a chance to talk about it. I'd love to do another show about just the New Hampshire independence movement. There's a big movement in New Hampshire. There's been a bill filed, a CACR, a constitutional amendment. And if it passes the House and Senate, it'll go onto the ballot for the people ourselves to vote on a referendum in a year, next November. And if that passes the people's vote as well by 66%, a 2/3 majority, we would peacefully separate from the Union. And this is the most support any bill to leave the Union has ever gotten since 1860, I suppose. And it's already got 10 state reps have told me they're going to either support the bill or co-sponsor it, maybe. So that's already 10. We just need a few more, but we need a 60% in the House and Senate. But it's gaining support every day, and especially with what the federal government does, DC, Biden, OSHA, the courts, and everyone in Congress, what they do every day.
What our government in the state of New Hampshire is doing or not doing.
Mm-hmm. And once we leave the Union, then we can turn all of our energy, instead of dissipating it with working on DC races and issues, we can focus on New Hampshire.
Clean house.
If all of us focus on New Hampshire, we can make New Hampshire, way better. And like I was saying, the New Hampshire budget is around $6.5 billion a year. That's very, very little. Again, it's one of the smallest budgets in the U.S., thankfully. We can fund that whole thing voluntarily. Between the liquor stores and some other examples I have in that book, we can easily make $6 billion a year. The government, Sununu, if he wants to, can make $6 billion a year without taxes. The sick thing is that they know this. They've already done it. The New York City with MTA, they make, I'm sure, billions, probably 50, 100 billion. They love taxing us. They love controlling us. They love abusing us. Some people are control freaks or violent. They love exerting control. They're control freaks. They're sociopaths. They're kleptomaniacs, maybe. They love stealing. So I've spoken to this. I had a long talk with the speaker a few weeks ago about this, and hopefully they try to get some bills to allow for this. But so on the one hand, you could say, who's a crazy anarchist who wants to abolish the government. Yeah, I don't deny that the government should not exist by any metric. But the same government can exist, like the state government, and they could do certain things. They have a mental home, which even in an anarchist society, that's an issue. Who deals with those who really can't take care of themselves because they're mentally ill? They can do that. Right now, it's funded by taxes. Is it a noble cause? Yes. I have a big soft side for mental health issues for sure, 100%. A lot of therapists in my family, and tons of my friends struggle with mental illness. And for those who are really mentally ill, they need a place to be. The state can do that. That's totally legitimate. It should not be funded by taxes. No matter how noble of a cause it is, you can't put a gun to my head and steal from me. Again, how would you feel, or anyone, if I put a gun to their head and said, give me your money, it'll go towards mentally ill children? That's still not acceptable.
No.
The use of the money is not, it can't make an immoral act moral. I can't beat someone up and steal their money and say I'm going to use the money for something moral because it started with an immoral act. There's actually a Gemara, the Talmud, about this, about if someone's cattle ran away or if their field is on fire, if something is an issue and you fix it for them, can you send them a bill? Like if you catch their cattle and return it, can you send them a bill? Yeah, probably not. So because they didn't ask you for it, maybe they let their sheep go.
You just did it voluntarily.
Yeah. So you can't steal from them and then say, oh no, now you have to pay for it and now it's all okay. So yeah, the state government, $6 billion a year, easily they could raise that money from non-taxation means, and that's kind of where I end the book. And then, like all my books, it ends in peaceful separation. Most of our taxes are federal. My biggest bill is the federal income tax. 20, 25%.
We separate from that. We don't have to deal with it.
Exactly.
I love it. That was a terrific wrap-up. We didn't get to presumed guilty, so that's the next show, everybody, so stay tuned. Again, get Elliot Axelman's book, The Blueprint for Liberty. Start learning, start thinking, start questioning. Don't be violent. And let's think about what we've been taught and what we've accepted, and is it really right now? Have a great day, and thanks for joining me, Jocelyn Davis, on Chattin.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.